is no such thing as political murder, political bombing, or political violence. There is only criminal murder, criminal bombing, and criminal violence.
The Troubles were a period of urban violence that was part of an 800-year-old struggle between Britain and Ireland, yet it was the lives of 10 men in 1981 that would forever change the course of history. The death of Bobby Sands and the actions of his fellow hunger strikers set Northern Ireland on a new path towards a peaceful and diplomatic end. The period known as the Troubles was the latest in a long series of battles for complete Irish independence from Great Britain. The 1921 Anglo-Irish Treaty had given independence to the Republic of Ireland, with the exception of the 7 most northern counties of Ulster, which remained under British rule.
The reason for the conflict was about national identity. People from my community see themselves as Irish. People from the Unionist community see themselves as British, and that was where the conflict arose. And the British, of course, tried to keep a stranglehold on Ireland for their own selfish strategic reasons.
Those in favour of British rule made up the majority in the north. Under the Special Powers Act, the Northern Irish government was given nearly unrestricted authority in the name of keeping peace. The Royal Ulster Constabulary, or RUC, Northern Ireland's main police force, disproportionately targeted national groups with violence and arrests. Similarly, the British sent in the Black and Tans to suppress the actions of the peaceful protests in 1968 and 69. Leading the opposition was the paramilitary Provisional Irish Republican Army, or IRA, and their political wing, Sinn Féin. The IRA participated in a number of terrorist campaigns in an effort to force Britain to capitulate.
Republicans reluctantly engaged in armed struggle. The only reason we engaged in armed struggle was because we felt there wasn't an alternative. And if people feel there is a political alternative, they're more likely to take that political alternative rather than go down the route of force or armed struggle.
However, Britain used these terrorist actions of the IRA to illegitimize the claims of the Republicans. Almost all reports of the Troubles were from a British perspective, which characterized the IRA as a criminal organization. In 1972, Britain established direct rule over Northern Ireland. In 1976, criminalization began, which stripped the Republicans of special category status, also known as political status. Under the Special Powers Act and internment without trial, the British government arrested Republicans without fair trial. The H-blocks at Her Majesty's Prison Maze in Long Kesh became their new home. Though tried and convicted under special provisions, they were told to serve their sentences as if they were common criminals.
We were living in absolutely horrendous conditions. We were locked in cells 24/7. Our own excrement was on the wall. We were sleeping on pieces of foam rubber on the floor. They eventually blocked up the windows to stop the light coming in, and the beatings increased.
With the removal of special category status in 1976, H-block prisoners refused to wear the prison clothing with the blanket protest. It was soon expanded with the No Wash, No Slop protest. For more than 4 years, the H-block prisoners remained on strike. Though their crimes were politically driven, popular condemnation of the IRA's terrorist actions helped to strip away the idea that these actions were in fact political. Britain viewed the struggle as a war on crime, not a fight for independence.
I say a crime is a crime is a crime, and the men of violence are the enemies of society and democracy. Everywhere they recognize that what I say is true, and I think.
Due to the ineffectiveness of the blanket and No Wash, No Slop protest, Brendan Hughes launched a hunger strike to protest the removal of special category status. He made 5 demands, which included the right to wear their own clothes, free association, and full restoration of remission lost during the blanket and no slop protests. During this time, Bobby Sands became officer in command within Mays Prison. Though the first strike was a failure, Sands saw the public support that it created and began to plan a new strike. This proposal caused the IRA Army Council great concern. Though they supported the strikers' claims, there were concerns over the risks involved and the morals behind the strike. Despite these concerns, on March 1, 1981, Bobby Sands began his famous hunger strike with full support from the IRA. Unlike before, Sands would come to pioneer a new playing field for the Republicans. The death of Frank McGuire, an independent member of parliament who was running for re-election, left a vacancy and an unexpected opportunity for the strikers. Bobby Sands, just 4 days into his strike, decided to run as an anti-H-Block candidate. Sands became an overnight sensation. Nationalists and Republicans mobilized in political force as they had never before. The strike hit front-page headlines around the world. Since members of the strike began at staggered intervals, it not only lengthened the duration of the strike, but also allowed for individuals like Sands to personify the struggle to the world on an emotional level. A previously inactive moderate Republican base found new sympathy in the plight of the prisoners and participated in peaceful street demonstrations on their behalf. Protesters flocked to the streets in solidarity with strikers in support of the Republican cause. On April 9, 1981, Bobby Sands won the parliamentary election after only 1 month on the ballot. This victory would forever change the debate over Irish independence.
Many people thought it would save Bobby Sands' life. Unfortunately, it didn't. Bobby Sands died on the 5th of May, and there were probably at least 200,000 people attended his funeral in West Belfast, and subsequently another 9 men also died, and anyone with any objectivity at all on this planet in 1981 wouldn't have believed that Bobby Sands and his 9 comrades who died were criminals. Everybody believed that they were politically motivated prisoners and that the British were in the wrong.
The success of Bobby Sands' election and the public support gained for the cause revolutionized Sinn Féin. In the 1981 Sinn Féin meeting, member Danny Morrison proposed a new Armalite and ballot box strategy, which would come to replace the long-standing abstentionist policy. From then on, Sinn Féin began to distance themselves from the IRA as they started to engage in politics. Soon, Sinn Féin members such as Gerry Adams and Pat Sheehan gained seats in parliamentary elections. This new political power and participation revolutionized relations with British leaders and Sinn Féin. For the first time, diplomatic relations between the two began in earnest. In 1985, the Anglo-Irish Agreement was signed by Margaret Thatcher and the Irish Taoiseach Garret FitzGerald. It left Northern Ireland under British rule, but allowed the Republic of Ireland to have a say in its affairs. Dialogue continued through the 90s. International leaders such as U.S. Senator George Mitchell played active roles in mediating the peace process. International support gained during the 1981 hunger strike led to a new commitment by world leaders to bring peace to Ireland. By 1993, the Downing Street Declaration was issued, which issued a commitment to definitive peace talks and would include different Republican and Unionist groups. Ceasefires in 94, 96, and a lasting peace in 97 allowed for talks between the British and Irish, as well as between Republican and Ulster groups. It culminated in the Belfast or Good Friday Agreement, which stated a commitment to the ending of paramilitary violence and the reconstructing of the Northern government, creating a stable peace which continues today. The election of Bobby Sands and the sympathy drawn from the death of the 10 hunger strikers had shown that Republicans had power not just through the gun, but also through the ballot box. The popular support and political success of Bobby Sands and the subsequent Sinn Féin members in parliamentary election began the process which culminated in the Belfast Agreement, thereby ending the violent period known as the Troubles. It was only through the actions of the H-Block prisoners that the North could find its way out of the maze.